Today I've got to create a jam track for my guitar school to help students learn how to play in a particular key. So we've taken a group of chords that are in the key of D, and I'm going to create a song that'll help students from the guitar school to learn how to improvise on it. So what I thought I'd do in this video is I'll show you what I do in my pre-production studio. This is basically how I go about creating tunes and music, but we'll create the jam track for the guitar school and I'll just take you through the process. So this will be kind of fun. Let me just kind of show you around the studio a little bit. I have my computer, which is a PC, and my monitor. I have this USB mic that I use if I have to create something really quick. It's plugged directly in the computer and sounds really good, so it's really handy for getting ideas down really fast and for podcasts and for these videos and things like that. Also, in terms of monitors, I have two Roland DS7s. These two monitors are really great. That's what I use to monitor anything that I do in my studio. What I use to record things into the computer is this little device up here. This is called a Motu 828 Mark II. It's a pretty old unit, and I actually have to switch it on, let it sit for about half an hour, then switch it off and switch it on before it'll actually work. It's really old. I think maybe it takes time for the capacitors to charge or something. Eventually, I guess I'll have to get a new one. So that's basically my recording setup. For this project, I'm just going to use my nylon string guitar, which is here. It has a Eller Beggs element pickup, and it's in the saddle. So I'll plug my guitar, it gets plugged into the back, and my guitar will be plugged into, you've probably seen this before in the guitar videos, this is an Aura 16 imaging pedal. And it's fantastic. It uses recorded live guitar sounds that were recorded with really good mics in studios, and I can plug my guitar into this unit to make my guitar sound really great without miking it. Because when I'm playing with drums and everything on a stage, a microphone becomes a real problem with feedback, and when I'm playing at a corporate event, a good quality instrument microphone picks up a lot of the people talking in the background, so that becomes a problem as well. So the Aura 16, this Fishman unit, has really helped me out a lot, and I love the sound of it. It's great. The next thing I'll need for this project is I'm going to play all the bass tracks myself. So I have this really cheap bass guitar, but it does the job. If anybody wants to help me out and send me a bass guitar, I could really use it, but this guitar works really well. And in order to make this guitar sound great, I plug it into a Pod X3 Live. Like my Aura Fishman pedal, it has some okay, decent bass sound, so I use that. So that goes into the computer and allows me to record. It also means that I can do everything without mics as well, which when I'm doing pre-production and just working out ideas, it works really good. So let's have a look at what I do in order to put a song together now that we've kind of seen what the studio is all about. Okay, so now you're seeing my computer screen, and I primarily use two pieces of software. I use one software program called Acid Pro. I'm using version 5, which is an older one, but I've used later versions and I had problems with it syncing with my other audio program. So one of the programs is this one here that you see here, Acid Pro 5, and the other one that I use Cubase 5. I've been using Cubase for a long time, and I just really like it because I know it really well. So it's what I'll use to record my guitar and bass and all the audio stuff. I could do everything within Acid. Acid actually works really well, and I could do that Acid for the entire project. But Cubase, I think, is a little bit more higher end and has it's just been really great. I've done all of my albums on it. I'll sometimes do drums and everything else in other studios and bring it back here to work on it here, and then I might mix someplace else or mix here. And then of course it gets mastered elsewhere. So what I want to do is a jam track for my students, so I'm just going to throw down some drums and whatnot. So I have a drum library, which you can see here, and I want to pick a conga pattern to get started. By the way, what this software does is it plays loops that you can buy on CD, or you can get them on the internet. And a loop is a sound bite or a sound recording that was done in a very high quality studio. So it could be someone playing congas, a different pattern, or drums. And we can take those loops and we throw them up and we can change the tempo. So I'll show you how it all works if this is all very new to you. So first of all, I want to find some congas that I'm going to use. for this. So here's my congas right here, and I can preview these and see if I find one I like. So the tempo is pretty quick. So the first thing I'm going to do before I start putting the percussion track together is I want to change the tempo I want to play this at. So I'm going to take a look at Cubase first. Right now the tempo is fixed at 120 beats per minute. I think I'll probably make this piece about 90 beats per minute. I think that's probably going to be a good tempo for what we're going to do. And now we'll go back to Acid, and now we're going to listen to some of the sounds. We'll find one that we like. There's all kinds of crazy sounds. I think we'll go with this one. And even still, I think the tempo is maybe a little bit fast, but yeah, maybe the tempo is still a little bit quick. Let's bump this tempo to about 80. That's probably a good tempo for my students. Okay, so what I've done is I've dragged the loop, the file, to my computer screen, and I'll put it up there. Now I'm going to need a 4 count first, so I'm just going to look for a hi-hat that I can put in as a 4 count, and we'll use that to count us in. It could be a hi-hat, or it could be a stick, or I'll just see what I can come up with. Clave, okay, sure, let's use a clave. That's perfect, that'll work for our 4 count. So here I can see up on the screen I've got bar 1, beat 2, beat 3, beat 4. So I'm going to put my my click up here, and I'm going to start it at the second bar. So there's the first click. There's 4 clicks, so that's going to be my, whoops, my 4 count. So when we play that, that'll work fine to play to get us started. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just dragging the conga file into here. So now I'll have a 4 count into a conga file. Alright, I'm just going to drag this forever because it's just a jam track. It's going to go and go. And then maybe what I'll add to my jam track is a shaker. Might be kind of nice. So let's go down here and find a bunch of shakers. Here's a bunch of shakers. I can play the track, and while the track's playing, I can sample some of these shakers to see if there's one that I like in particular. I can also turn the volume of the shaker down to see how it's going to sound in the mix. So I'm just sampling shakers till I find the one that I like. I kind of like this one. I think it's great. So we'll put it up there. There we go. I've got a shaker playing. I'll just bring the volume down a bit on my shaker. If I wanted to add drums into this, I could too. So why don't we do that too? Let's just find a drum set here in my library of stuff. Get rid of my line percussion. And drum tools. Let's go with drum sugar for some really cool drum beats in here. And I can sample different drum beats to see what I like. And I'll just keep sampling until I find something I like. Quite the kick. For basic drum beats, there's some wild stuff. I don't know if I like any of these. I'll use that one in my track. And I'll set the volume to where I want it in the mix. thing I can do is I can pan some of these sounds left and right wherever I want to put. I can have the shaker on one side. Kind of want to get an idea of where my hi-hat is. I'll just mute that for a sec. I'm listening to find out what side of the stereo field my hi-hat is. And it looks like it's just right in the center. That way I can just, usually it'd be nice to put the shaker maybe on the other side of it. Anyways, that sounds pretty good to me. So there we go. We've got a track that we're going to use for our tune. We'll just stop that. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to record the guitar and the bass, and I'll do that with another program. So the other program that everything's connected to is Cubase. Cubase and Acid connect through a program called Rewire, which I believe comes with Cubase, and it just talks to each other. So when I play the track in Cubase now, it's actually playing my Acid track, which is really quite cool. So here we can see I'm at the beginning, and my count will start right here. 2, 3, 4, and the track starts here. So I'll record it. I think I can actually speed this up again. It just feels too slow. I'm going to speed it back up to 90. Cubase is sort of the master, and Acid is the slave program. So whatever I do in Cubase affects Acid. So the tempo is now faster. So that'll work. So next we'll get the guitar plugged in and record a guitar track and a bass track for it. Okay, so I've got my guitar, and the next thing I want to do now is record some guitar. So I have some sheet music here that we've created for a chord progression that we're going to improvise over on the guitar school. The chords D, G, A, D, B minor, E minor, F sharp minor, A. They're all a bunch of chords in the key of D that we're going to use to improvise on with a D major scale. And I'm going to play the chords now with the track, so we're going to record it. I've armed the track that's going to record the guitar. I've got my guitar plugged into the Fishman Aura and then into my Motu device, which is going to allow me to record. What I've done is just put in a punch-in point, so I want the software to start the recording automatically so I don't have to push a record button or anything. And let's see if this is going to work. So we'll hear the 4 count and I'll start playing the tune. So there's my guitar recorded. I'm not real crazy about the F sharp in this particular song, but when we created the song, the basic idea was to use all the chords that we could, triads, 3-note chords that we could from the key of D, just for practice sake and stuff for the guitar school. Alright, let's record a bass track next. Alright, so now I get to put my bass player hat on and play the bass part for this tune. So I've got my track all set up to record the bass track. So here we go, we'll record the bass part. we'll mix it all together, and now we've got a track that we can use. You can see there's an extra track on my screen here. I recorded a second guitar. It's just basically the same thing, but I doubled it just to make it sound a little bit bigger, I suppose. It's an old rock and roll trick, I guess. Let's see what we've got for the track. I think we should be able to hear everything okay. And that's it. It's just a real quick jam track that we can now use. So I'll put that on the site, and now my students will be able to jam to it. But that's basically the process that I use when I'm creating my CDs and my music. Rather than having the band over all the time and working and spending hours with the band to come up with arrangements, I do it all ahead of time, and then I present it to the band as a finished piece of music, and then we can go into the studio and record it. So that's it for how I track stuff and put it all together. I hope you enjoyed the video.